in the City Council, City Manager's Office, Public Works, Emergency Management, Clearwater and Marine Aquarium, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and the Clearwater Beach Association. The sand dunes on North Clearwater Beach provide a natural barrier that helps lessen and at times stop the storm surges that impact our residential community. The sand dunes along the Gulf side of Florida are considered part of the state park system and are protected by Chapter 161 of the Florida state statutes. Among those provisions are ones that establish fines for knowingly or by gross negligence causing damage to beach dune systems, including animal and plant life. The City of Clearwater is charged by the state of Florida of maintaining these beaches and sand dunes. Nowhere on any of the 7 North Beach access point signage does the City of Clearwater tell visitors to stay out of the sand dunes, and no sign by the city is placed anywhere on the Gulf side of these dunes stating to stay out of the sand dunes under Florida State Statutes, Chapter 161. Many of the communities to our south, Naples as an example, have replanted sea oats along their beaches and installed such signage. After the sand dunes were decimated by Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton, Public Works crews hauled truckloads of sand off the island and used front-end loaders to dump buckets full of sand into the Gulf. The explanation given was that the sand was contaminated and would be returned once it was cleaned. To my knowledge, no clean sand was ever returned. The sand that remained on the beaches and in the dunes was also contaminated by raw sewage, glass, metal, and other hurricane debris. Because the residents in my area could not get help from the city, we hired private crews with front-end and skid-steer loaders to push the remaining sand back towards the residential seawalls. The undulating sand dunes that used to extend more than 250 feet from my seawall were full of plants and endangered wildlife. My neighbors and I have now undertaken replanting and watering sea oats, grasses, ground covers, vine shrubs, approved by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection in an effort to help anchor the sand and rebuild the dunes naturally. Another help in restoring the sand dunes would be the installation of sand dune fencing at the tow lines, which is the former westerly point where the former sand dunes started. The dune tow line is part of the City of Clearwater's purview. There are over 72 residential properties on North Clearwater backing up to the Gulf.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. I think your time is up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We need your help.
Thank you. The next speaker. Yeah, Lisa.
I just want to say ditto to everything she just said. That was a wonderful presentation, and I totally support what she said. And I wanted to thank the city. I went to the tree giveaway, and those of us who were very upset about the tree destruction by Duke Energy, we're really happy the city's been extremely proactive on this. The trees were so healthy, and the sizes were just perfect, that we know that they will survive. The planting guides you gave us were excellent. I can't speak for every year in the past, but I just know that there has been a time in the past when the planting guides were not this explicative, tells you where not to plant, how to plant, and just did a wonderful job. And I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker on an item that's not on an upcoming agenda.
Do we have to go in the sequence that we signed up?
No. As long as you've signed up, just you want to get in line, that'd be great.
Good evening. I'm Dennis McDermott on Lakeview Road. And I'm here to talk briefly about some noise and safety concerns at the Clearwater Airport. On Wednesday, April 16th, a longtime Clearwater resident who lives just north of the airport sent an email to some Clearwater officials with CC to Fly USA in part. The email said attached is a screenshot of a 2004 Learjet 45 that took off from the airport at about 1:30 today. Sitting in my house, I saw on my office chair. This is the type of aircraft that does not belong flying around the airport. A city official responded in part, with a runway that stretches just over 4,000 feet, this facility is capable by design of handling aircraft much larger than the one you tracked. It is, and always has been, a functional general aviation airport. Later on, the official added the Learjet 45 max takeoff weight is around 21,500 pounds. And with a runway of just over 4,000 feet, our airport, under the right conditions, could accommodate aircraft as large as a Boeing 737-700 or an Airbus 820. I believe this city official was misinformed. A manager from Fly USA also responded to the resident. We did have a Learjet last week, called it the Lear 40, not a Lear 45. The Lear 40 is classified as a light jet, and our airport is perfectly suitable and safe for these type of operations. It's perfectly allowable by regulation and pilot discretion for the crew to choose us as their destination as a public use airport. We don't have the ability to choose which aircraft use the facility. That's dictated by aircraft size, performance, and pilot discretion. And I believe the Fly USA manager was partially correct, but the difference between the Learjet 40 and 45 is none. Other than the 40 is 20 inches shorter. A Learjet 40 or 45 operating into or out of Clearwater Airport is certainly possible, although we likely raise red flags with insurance carriers, with oversight agencies, and should raise a flag with the airport owner and the airport operator. At best, these aircraft are at the margins of weight and wingspan for the facility. With both engines fully operational and under full power with ideal conditions, the Learjet is capable of takeoff from Care Park. However, several experienced pilots I contacted informally on this topic universally agreed that a pilot operating the Learjet 45 under the spirit of FAA safety guidance would avoid operating in or out of Clearwater Airpark except in emergency conditions. Meanwhile, the Boeing 37 fails on all accounts. It's grossly overweight, the wingspan exceeds both the taxiway and runway limits, and its load capacity can't even be calculated relative to the airport. When pilots or airport operators seem to become cavalier about critical safety constraints,
Thank you.
bad things can happen.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Our next speaker on item that's on the upcoming agenda.
Oh, no, I'm going to let the local go. Mr. Huluva, please. Please.
I am Mr. Beluga. This is going to be a little different than what you've heard. Mr. Menino seems to crave attention, so I'm going to give him a little bit this afternoon. Mr. Menino previously operated a charity he named Finish Line for Scholarships. This was a 501(c) nonprofit that was tax exempt and allowed to receive donations that were deductible for the donor. There exists strict restrictions and reporting requirements that I don't believe Mr. Menino did correctly. He didn't meet the requirements. But even after his charity was closed, I believe he still accepted donations. Mr. Menino, during his campaign on videotape, claimed he gave $100,000 to Pinellas County Schools. The email response to Mr. Taylor's request from the attorneys disputes that. No money was sent to them. Now, at the February 24 candidate forum, Mr. Menino stated, quote, "My nonprofit has gifted over $100,000 into the community."
Mr. Lou, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but how does this relate to the city of Clearwater business?
Just a city councilman.
Stop interrupting.
That's how city councilman, that's how it's, good Lord, man. Horrible. He refers to several general organizational types. Tampa Bay Youth Community, whatever that is. High school booster clubs, coaches, team leaders, individual families. That's who got some of that money. Was the Menino family one of those families? I am requesting, Mr. Menino, as a verbal open records request, that you list every person and organization that you collected money and donated to. It's required. Of course, you didn't meet the requirements. Your list of generic, unacceptable benefactors, nothing short of BS and just jibber-jabber. It's not acceptable. This Xanadu document from the company you ran states hundreds of thousands of dollars has been donated. Where's the money, Mr. Menino? Why can't you account for it? Where'd the money go? Show me the money, Mr. Menino.
Hey, next speaker.
Here. Hi, friends. Hi, Miss Poirier. How are you? I did something very special for you. I got some white chocolate. I got some milk chocolate. And I got some dark chocolate. I'm gonna leave it right here. You can collect it whenever you want. That way you start to calm down and you're not so stressed. So, and then we're gonna get into. You're not stressed. Can you shut this guy up, please? He keeps interrupting me.
You're killing 3 minutes by talking about stuff that
He
has
keeps
nothing to do
talking.
with the city of Clearwater.
You all, every one of you, all sat there and was like, "Oh, you're interrupting. This guy's interrupting me. Tell him to shut his freaking cock-sucking mouth." I don't give a shit about any one of your feelings in here, people.
Your clock's
All right?
running.
Menino, I did records requests. I was the one that friggin' found out about friggin' from.
This is a forum to talk about community issues.
I want my
I've
time
come in
started.
here and-
I want my time started because you keep
You have
interrupting.
personal-
I want my time started over.
I asked everyone at the beginning to be respectful to the other
I'm
people
trying to be respectful.
that
but
care
this is-
about. You
these
jumped
are
ahead to attack people up
Start my
here
time over.
rather than talk about community issues,
Start my time
which is
over.
what is the purpose
Start
of
my
this
time
forum.
over.
So are you going to talk about a community issue?
I'm
Or are
talking
you
about
going to
what's
hold time
happening
for the
here in your
folks that
city.
came here to talk about
I'm
Clearwater?
talking about what's happening in your city.
So far you haven't. Okay.
Menino got up on stage and talked about him giving $100,000. So I can't talk about what he said. I can't talk about
That
what
was in
Poirier.
his personal life.
You literally go up on friggin' the Doug Kelly show, and every one of you.
Do you want to stay, or do you
Oh
want
my
to,
God.
or you're
Start
destroying?
my time over.
You're destroying the meeting for all these other people who
Start
live here.
my time over. Just let me speak for 3 minutes and I'll be done.
Will you talk about a city issue?
Yes, I'm talking about what's happening in this city.
We'll start your time now.
Thank you. I got 3 minutes, right? All right. Poirier, she lives in friggin' Station Square, where you guys lose over $100,000. And what's his name? Friggin' Slaughter ain't here today because he's the one that said it. Oh, we lose money. She lives in it. So does Texera. Friggin', let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, the boats that just happened. I told you guys almost a year and a half ago, do not take these boats. If anything, get your own friggin' captain, and none of this would have happened. None of this. You, friggin' Margolis, he's like, oh, I don't like getting into third party. I don't like getting into third party. But you got into a third party with the Clearwater Ferry, and people got injured. Just let the Clearwater, let's just say it's the Dennis and Trish. Can you tell him to shut the fuck up? Tell him to shut the fuck up. Fuck you, dude. Wow. Anyway. Yes, I do.
Why are you allowing this man to interrupt the speaker?
Yeah, that's a good point. I want 20 seconds back. I want 20 seconds. retarded. Anyway, I have talked to a couple of you personally. There is an issue here with our First Amendment. We've offered the olive branch numerous friggin' times saying, hey, just give the people, why do we have to have all these people? Look at this, everybody. Look at all these people here willing to speak. Just give the public comment back the way it was. And I'm offering the olive branch once again. I'll walk away. I drove 4 hours just to come here. And go fuck yourself. Shut the fuck up, dude. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
We're not here for the circus, okay? So
Well, you're allowing the circus because
everybody
it's
cooperate.
Go fuck yourself, dude. When did you guys start standing up for our rights? When do you, the council of Clearwater, stand up for the rights of the fucking people here? When do you start to stand up for our rights? I'm sick and tired of coming here month after month in putting out YouTube videos just so you can look it up, the arm fisherman on YouTube. All these things get exposed because you don't want to respect our rights. Look at this guy, dude. He's still talking, dude. Shut him the fuck up.
Time's up.
Kick him out. Okay.
Time's
Just 2 sentences. 2 sentences. I've been kicked out of meetings, and this guy's sitting here talking.
If we're gonna
Kick him
have-
out of the fucking meeting.
If we're gonna have a battle here between two groups, then we're gonna end the meeting. okay?
If I get kicked out
So
of the
if your intention was to come over here and deny these other folks who live here a right to speak, that's what you're doing.
what? I'm not American?
You're
I'm
coming
not
over,
American?
you're preventing them from
I'm not
having their
American?
say. You're preventing them from
I'm not
having
from the United
You're
States?
preventing them from having their say.
Fuck you too, bro. I'm gonna go sit in
welcome
my
to
little
be
corner.
here.
I don't know whose little microphone this is. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put it right there for you. This is tyranny in its finest.
You heard that earlier, you could stop it since the minute you walked in here. Oh, I will. Because you told me to.
Look, if you're gonna threaten one another, we're gonna end the meeting. I mean, there's just no sense for us to be here threatening one another. We got this gentleman standing up in front, and they're getting an argument. If you all wanna argue, you can go outside.
Yeah, we can go outside. If you want to go outside, let's go.
Name's Larry. We've had a lot of conversations, email, phone, everything. I've talked to you quite a bit. Her, no response. No response. Called several times to talk to you. One time you called me back, the first time. But as soon as I started disagreeing with you and getting a little loud with you, you chose to not call me back. The 3 other times I tried making contact with you, but you all say you're open, but you don't answer the phone. I have his cell phone number. Talked to him many a times on his cell phone. Very familiar with the city. My father and stepmother ran Sunsets at Pier 60 for 25 years. I know the city. Been around longer than you have. No response. Finally, after I tell him, we don't need you dressing like somebody that should be working at the hotels. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're not-
So,
let's be respectful of everybody.
Stop interrupting.
and that's
Well,
another thing I'd like to state. You know, I watch the videos. I don't come here. This is my first time ever speaking here. don't have the courage to stand up in front of all these people and talk. But I'll talk to you on the phone for an hour, won't I? Correct?
Just asking you to be respectful, people. That's not too much to ask.
Do you realize watching the videos, when there's an applause, you telling everybody they're disrupting takes longer than you to allow that applause to subside and go to the next person. You, half the time, are the reason for this to be disrupted. Because you disrupt what we're allowed to say, what we're allowed to speak about. Yeah, keep watching your timer. Keep watching your timer. You must be your brother-in-law. Not to kick him out.
I know, it's breaking the quorum.
Yeah. Decorum works for
I just like to eventually hear, we had a couple people talk about Clearwater issues. I'd love to hear from more people who are talking about Clearwater issues.
This is the issues of the people sitting there. You know, I'm telling you. A year and a half ago, watching this guy on the video, I said he's part of Scientology from the get-go. Look at the way he dresses. Look at the way he the mannerism. Oh, yeah, you've got respect. And selling Garden Street. It's all fine and dandy, but I do believe the city belongs to the citizens. Not you. Not you.
That's our upcoming agenda, May 15th.
So therefore, when you sell it, get paid in full, and send every one of the citizens their dividends. Because it's the citizens' street. It's not yours. It's not yours to give up today. It's the citizens. The tax-paying citizens. Yeah, you just keep watching the clock. All you care about.
You and I have talked many times, like you said.
Yes.
So I'm trying to be respectful.
And again, you are the biggest interruption. Well, have fun. You know, maybe I'll come back and continue doing this, but I will definitely continue the emails. And I would appreciate a return call.
Yeah, 3 times up.
A return call.
Mr. Johnson's next.
This guy is violating Rule 15 that was...
Do you want us to stop the meeting? That's what you're saying?
No,
Okay, well then, please, let the next speaker speak.
Mayor, Council, thank you for coming up from Countryside. I'm a resident here, and it's great to see you here, and hope you continue to come back here. I'm still Bill Johnson. I recently had a chance to hear the mayor's comments to a small group about his vision for the city and the hopes for his legacy. It wasn't really all that different than what I've heard from the rest of you. But one difference was his comment that Clearwater needs to compete with the best communities in Tampa Bay. A friend of mine was in attendance and reported that the mayor said the right things, but they weren't optimistic for improvement. Why? Because they hadn't observed much difference in the last several years. That is why I had such high expectations from our 2 strategic planning workshops that the council had in January and February. I finally got the consultant's report 51 days after the second planning session concluded, yet it didn't contain much of a forward plan, nor did the draft minutes from the 2 meetings. Totally missing from that strategic planning session was community expectations. There was no presentation of the 2024 Clearwater National Citizen Survey. Looking at the survey, Clearwater is generally similar to our benchmark cities. Yet when looking at the percentage rankings that were available only last week, our citizens generally rank Clearwater below average. You are adjusting city salaries to the 75th percentile of comparable cities. Shouldn't we be expecting above average satisfaction? I realize it's a lot of work for the council to set expectations and then track them while still operating within the rules of the Florida Sunshine Law. But if you want to compete with other leading cities of Tampa Bay, don't you have to do that? The Clearwater Public Utilities Department is utilizing the Florida Sterling Ward evaluation process, an outstanding initiative which will increase transparency, accountability, and public confidence. A wonderful initiative affecting and preserving Clearwater's public health. And how about the rest of Clearwater departments? Clearwater has a great history of responding to crises, but more appropriate would be more proactive. I look forward to chatting with you individually about this opportunity and sharing my analysis with the comparison 2021 and 24 NCS surveys. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
again, thank you for being in Countryside.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi guys. I wasn't actually planning on speaking tonight. My name is Sandra Weber. I live at 1931 Macomber Avenue, Clearwater, Florida, 33755. My dog, Easy. And I see you guys are who it says you are, since you didn't introduce yourself. Maybe that's something you want to do in the future, I don't know. So like I said, this is my first meeting, and I knew it would be colorful. You have characters, you have people who want to be heard. And they're not all wearing suits, and they're not all as perhaps proper as you guys are. And it's a challenge. I understand that. Okay, to let people speak. But I would say this gentleman in the front row has been a heckler since he sat down, basically, and he has basically heckled whoever is up here or side conversations. He's disruptive, and I don't know who's in charge of the quorum back here. I really don't know the rules, but I found it very disturbing when he was allowed to continue to bother the speaker and nothing was said. I don't know if that's an oversight, something you might want to do in the future. Because, yeah, I think everybody should be entitled to what they say. And as I read, I understood that there was to be no back and forth with whatever, and also that the only thing we have to talk about is items not on the agenda. That could be anything. I could talk about my dog. I could tell you guys a story, right? That would be okay. So uncomfortable topics do come up, and your public servants, you have to take that, and then you deal with it later, however. But I just hope that there's more respect paid to everyone, and when there is an obvious person who's trying to start trouble and heckling, somebody deals with that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ready? Good evening, Council. Today we stand at a crossroads for the future of Garden Street.
Excuse me, ma'am. State your name.
Cheryl. A decision that will shape our city's identity, economy, and soul. Two proposals lie before us, each with profoundly different visions for our community. The first proposal comes from the cult of Scientology, which seeks to purchase Garden Street, I don't know why we're selling a city street to anyone, to construct a monument for their founder where citizens of Clearwater would not be invited to or allowed in. They've turned our vibrant downtown into a patchwork of empty storefronts and vacant properties. The lack of economic vitality for a beach town is truly appalling. Scientology's expansion has cast a shadow, discouraging new businesses and making it hard for current businesses to exist, creating an atmosphere many describe as unsettling and creepy. Their proposal for Garden Street prioritizes their agenda over the needs of our diverse community. Do we want a city that serves as a private shrine or one that thrives for everyone? The second proposal, called Save the Garden, offers a brighter, more inclusive vision. It calls for transforming Garden Street into a memorial honoring the African American history of this area, a place rich with stories of resilience and contribution. This project wouldn't just preserve our past, it would breathe new life into Clearwater. Imagine a space that draws visitors, supports local businesses, and fosters community pride. Save the Garden would create economic growth and heal divisions. It's a plan that uplifts everyone, not just a select few. The choice is clear. One path leads to more emptiness, more control by a single entity. The other offers hope, unity, and a chance to rebuild Clearwater as a city for all its people. Let's reject the shadow of Scientology's expansion and embrace Save the Garden. Let's choose a future where Garden Street becomes a beacon of our shared history and a catalyst for renewal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron, Smith 11, I guess. I would ask that the council please ensure to put the Save the Garden proposal on the agenda for May 15th for a vote, just to begin. Okay, a few thoughts about the Save the Garden stuff, the selling South Garden to Scientology. A lot has been made of the video presentation that was made to the council members of everything Scientology is going to do to develop downtown. A lot has been said about if only Scientology would share this proposal with the public would support the project the way 3 of the council members have so far. Well, it turns out the proposal is the video you guys saw is the exact same video David Miscavige showed to the city council 8 years ago. And I know some of you guys remember what was happening back then. Clearwater Marine Aquarium owned the lot behind the Fort Harrison Hotel. David Miscavige wanted it. Aquarium was selling it. It appraised for $4 million and change. Miscavige offered David Yates $15 million. David said, I would rather sell it to the city for $4.75 million and keep it in the hands of the public than sell it to Scientology for $15 million and take it away from the public. Then the Clearwater owned the property. Miscavige created this beautiful presentation to convince the city of Clearwater to sell him that property. 8 years ago, he was offering 10 times the money, and he was asking for 1/3 the property. Ryan, you think this is such a great deal. You didn't even know that the video you saw was 8 years old, okay? So here's the thing, because the core of this issue is can Scientology be trusted? So I would ask you this when you met with David Miscavige. If you knew the video was 8 years old, you would have said, wow, this is a great plan. This is what you said you wanted to do 8 years ago. Why didn't you do it? And he would say, well, because that was in exchange for selling us the aquarium lot. And then you would go, but we're still not selling you the aquarium lot. Are you saying you're going to do all this just in exchange for South Garden? And then he would have said, no, of course not. But I think you already know this, because you already said that 5 months ago, Miscavige came to you guys and said, I want the aquarium lot, I want the firehouse, and I want South Garden. None of you have actually explained how that conversation changed to just South Garden. And if you already know that what he really wants is the aquarium lot, then why are you trying to convince the people of Clearwater that Scientology is going to redevelop downtown Clearwater just in exchange for South Garden when you seem to already know that's not true? So I don't know if you're the one being snowed or if you're snowing the people of Clearwater, but the lack of transparency on this is why people are questioning your intentions and your motives, and why you've turned into David Miscavige's spokesperson about a project you consistently prove you know nothing about. You didn't know Scientology bought all the property downtown. You didn't know Scientology wasn't paying for the property for 6 years, and you didn't know the video was 8 years old. What do you know about the project you're running around promoting to anyone and everywhere you can? It's no wonder people question your motives.
What about the revenue?
Next speaker, please, Mr. Chairman.
My name is George LeBlanc. I'm a Clearwater resident. I moved here in 1977. I was warned by my cousin that there was this new cult that moved into town to stay away from downtown Clearwater. I started reading up on it, and I found out that the beginnings of the church were lies. False premises were used to buy the property. And the mayor actually questioned at the time, why do you need 4 armed guards at the top of a hotel when you buy a hotel in Clearwater? Since then, I've been here for 50 years, and I've seen nothing but deterioration of downtown Clearwater. Empty buildings that look great. Gosh, they sure look good in all the promo shots. We've actually looked at putting businesses in downtown Clearwater. Couldn't find a way to make it work with the foot traffic that's down there. We put on events down in downtown Clearwater, running events. And it was amazing how they would parade people through our events, just almost like making fun of us for being downtown. They don't want us here. We want Clearwater back. We want downtown back. I was appalled when I found out you guys were going to give them more of a footprint, not a less of a footprint. And now that I'm hearing more of the details about how it's coming about, I hope you guys rectify it. I hope you do the right thing. And I hope you really look back and see all the Clearwater residents that are really against this type of thing. We would like to see less of a Scientology footprint in downtown, not more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, share your name with the clerk if you would, thank you. Yeah.
My name is Reverend Hippie. Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Hippie. I am the pastor of the newly founded Church of Unending Empathy, or Q for short. I consider myself to be a First Amendment auditor and a civil rights activist. And I came this distance. I drove 2.5 hours one way, once again, to be supportive of my friend, the orange fisherman. Excuse me?
Keep going.
Shut your
please,
mouth.
please. Look, if you all want to argue, you go outside. Yeah,
I came
continue.
here to speak
Continue.
on his behalf because of the treatment he has received by your town. But I also came to try to see if my freedom of speech was going to be honored. Thank you. Because on April 10th of this month, I went to Okeechobee County, to their county council, and I witnessed their tyrant, their Gestapo chief, silenced 2 people in front of me. I was the 3rd person to speak. The first person was an elderly lady with a walker. She had about 30 seconds to speak before he shut her up. Then a man about 85 years old got up. He reminded me of my Uncle Ben, who was a war hero in the Second World War. And immediately, the county council chairman ordered his armed thugs to lay hands on this man and remove him from the meeting. While doing so, they almost pushed him into my lap, at which time I stood up, put my hand out like this on the officer's chest, and was immediately arrested for felony battery on a police officer and resisting with violence. I'm a 58-year-old, 100% disabled Gulf War veteran who is disabled because of my back injury I sustained while I was in the service. And these men bent me over a row of chairs, bruised my ribs, my sternum, and my kidneys because I spent the night in the jail urinating blood. And for 3 days after that, I wasn't looked at by the people there in the jail. Because you know how they treat people that batter police officers in the jail? They don't. Problem is, I spent 15 years as a corrections officer. I know how they're supposed to do their jobs. I know how all you're supposed to do your jobs. I also spent 15 years as a 911 operator and medical dispatcher.
Now, would you, yeah, please, just continue.
I wanted to make sure that I could speak freely and not be placed in jail and not be belittled. You know how hard it is for a man 58 years old to get up into a top bunk?
Thank you, sir. Next one.
I'm Master Serio, I'm a citizen of Clearwater. I just wanted to share some information with you. I've already sent it to Dave and I already told Lena, but I want to tell the rest of you and I'll just sit here. You all know Blinker's Beachside Cafe or Beachside Steakhouse on Mandalay Beach, or on Clearwater Beach on Mandalay Avenue. It was there for 5 years. Now it's Mandalay Prime. My partner was Gary Ginn. He went to Roxy's last Wednesday, or Thursday it was. He went to rent Roxy's. That's owned by a Scientologist. Agami, thank you very much. And he went and asked them to rent Roxy's. And he met with their representative. His name was Jeff. And Jeff's exact words were this. We want $79.80 or $13,900 a month. So $79.80 per square foot. That's not market rate. He would give him a 5-year lease. he wanted them to buy the equipment, which is understandable, that's in there, that's a negotiation. And he says, to be honest with you, we don't care if we ever rent it. Those are words that Jeff said. It represents the Scientologists. So please keep this in mind when you're reading that they're going to do all this stuff. I tried to put a phone call in to Scott Dobbins, which is the leasehold person for all the different properties they're going to rehab. I have no phone calls back from Scott Dobbins. I spoke to Scott 4 years ago when they had, and some of you know this, it used to be black brick. On Monday, they agreed to rent it to me. On Tuesday, they called me and they said, we're going to tear it all down and rebuild it. That was December of 21. Now it's being done. It's being rebuilt. But the fact that Scott's still the same guy that I talked to will not return my phone calls now. I called him again right before I came here, hoping to get some confirmation. But there is no, and have they ever said to you how much the actual square range rate is going to be? They say market rate, but I don't know where their market is, because I don't think you have to pay that much in South Beach on the main drag. $80 a square foot for space is unrealistic. So please keep that in mind as you're making your decisions. Let's talk about real details, not pie in the sky. Thank you.
I don't know if y'all know it, but I'm still being prosecuted by the city of Clearwater and the police department for what I said during a recessed city council meeting. I'm facing 60 days in jail, $500 fine, 6 months probation, because I spoke out against the city council and the police department during a recessed city council meeting. But y'all let this piece of shit sit here and interrupt every fucking speaker in this fucking meeting. He's speaking out against us instead of you.
Yeah.
Fuck the city.
Thank you. Next speaker.
And also my dick.
Free Steve.
Find it.
Yeah, next speaker, please.
Hi, Brooks Gibbs. I just want to thank you for extending the vote so that we could allow our proposal for the Garden Avenue property. I just wanted to publicly thank you, and thank you for agreeing to meet with me and my team and being professional. Thank you to the city clerk for any time when you have a question about Freedom of Information Act. You're very responsive, and I just feel grateful for you guys, and you made yourself available. It's been quite a ride. We've had an amazing time with people supporting us. We've been able to find an architect. We've improved our proposal. We've been able to rally people around to support this, and it's just been awesome. And I think what really resonates with people is the concept of memorializing what once was. That's what the Garden Avenue does. You know, a long time ago, back in the day, the Garden Avenue was a place where black-owned businesses and white-owned businesses would work together to build the city of Clearwater, what it is today. And what I love about this project is I get to talk to all kinds of people about how they feel about Clearwater. And I found there's 5 basic responses which actually follows the 5 stages of grief. I see some people are actually, they're in denial. They say, no, it's not dead, there's no problems, the city, or the Church of Scientology is just needing to assemble all these buildings to build something great like Walt Disney, because that's what he had to do. And yet other people who argue that say, no, you're ignoring the 50 years of difficulty of cooperating with this organization, and they don't seem to do what they promised. And then you got people who are angry. These are the protesters that say, hey, no fair, I've been wounded, and it's the city's fault, it's the organization's fault, it's the citizens' fault. And that anger doesn't really take us to progress, so I understand it. And then you've got bargainers, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing. If we give them this, then the Church of Scientology will give us that, and I'm afraid some of you are in that mindset right now. We can still bargain. It doesn't seem to be helping. And then you've got those who are depressed, which are most of the people in the city that say, I just throw up my hands, I ignore it when I'm on Court Street, I don't even look towards downtown, and they're in denial and they feel despair, But I think the greatest posture is acceptance. It is what it is. What's done is done. I can't change what it is, but I can memorialize it. To be forgotten is to die twice. And there are many great things that have happened in downtown Clearwater that we need to remember. And Garden Avenue is the entrance to a park that leads you through a trail throughout the entire downtown area that is an oral history project that memorializes the awesome things that happened from our elders. And not only that, but it is a pathway to healing. When something dies or something is no longer, the most appropriate thing is to memorialize. And that's what we're asking you to do. And then we can build towards new downtown, which I'm really excited about. We need to heal this city.
Next speaker. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Story Love, and I'm sure all of the council persons know me. I am the president of Clearwater African American Foundation, and the purpose of the foundation is to memorialize Clearwater's African American, what was Clearwater African Americans' cities back during the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And those those communities were North Greenwood, Clearwater Heights, which was originally known as Mac Dixon Subdivision, and the Garden Avenue. Now, in 2000, I wrote a book. That was 20 years ago. Know where you're going, you gotta know where you've been. And it is a memoir of me growing up in Clearwater during the 50s and 60s. The school that I attended, Pinellas High School, I can proudly say I was one of the champions to get the name of the school back. The school is now Pinellas High Innovation. On March 17th, I went before the council to speak about memorializing Garden Avenue. That was my sole purpose. On April 3rd, I received a proposal from Mr. Brooks Gibbs, and we had some hiccups with that, but we were given the opportunity to rewrite the proposal and present it again on May 15th. So I am here today to ask the citizens of Clearwater and the council to vote yes on the vote May 15th to our Save the Garden project. And this project is going to include not only the African American history, but the history of all the white people, Caucasians, who were instrumental on that Garden Avenue corridor back in the day. And since I sparked this conversation, I've gotten a lot of conversations about, oh, I didn't know that was a history. We are talking about reimagining the Clearwater history through the project where Mr. Gibbs just mentioned. And I'm asking everyone, if you want more information, to go to savethegarden.org. And I'm a little bit nervous because I wasn't expecting all of the other stuff that came on before we spoke this afternoon or this evening. But thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your votes, and God bless you.
Hi, I'm Mark Funker, and I'd like to second Aaron Smith-Levin's suggestion that the Save the Garden project be put on the agenda so that we can discuss it thoroughly and not just have it be a little afterthought as you vote to give Scientology Garden Street. Over the weekend, there was a celebration of life from Mike Linder, who was the head of the Office of Special Affairs, the Dirty Tricks Department, for Scientology for many, many years before he finally had enough abuse and he left Scientology and spoke out then, helping people who have been abused by the organization. And I bring this up because I was having lunch with Tony Ortega, who's one of the best journalists in the world on covering Scientology. We were down in Coachman Park looking at the memorial bench that Leah Remini put there for Mike Linder. And Tony was trying to do a video explaining how beautiful the park is, and it is. The city did a great job with the park. But it was empty. And the only reason it's empty, really, besides the fact it was a little warm out, but that park in any other city on the waterfront would be bustling. And you know Scientology is what's keeping that away. And we're making great progress. We have 400 apartments that we approved for the Bluff to have people living downtown. We have the county properties that will be available for us to redevelop, so we can develop downtown despite Scientology. There seems to be this trust in Miscavige coming through that I just don't think is warranted. As we heard from Mike Bastasario, how difficult it is for anyone negotiating to have a business in a building owned by Scientologists. You know that they have given nothing but headaches to anyone who wants to open a business there. And trusting in Miscavige to come through, I think, is foolhardy. Look at the track record. He wants what he wants. He has said that, he's tired of busing the Scientologists to other cities for a vibrant downtown. Well, he's had these properties all along now, and he hasn't budged an inch to do anything to make it a bustling downtown, let alone since they came into town in 1975. At any rate, trusting Miscavige is not a good idea. And I saw the beautiful new illustration that Miscavige showed at a recent Scientology event.
Thank you, Mr. Bunker.
Albert Hall. It was empty in the image.
Thank you, Mr. Bunker. Yeah, thank you. You can talk separately.
Any kind of public speaking. She sends me to do that stuff. Hi, I'm Tony from the 500 block. I want to share a little story about who I am and why I'm here, what makes me who I am. I'm a first generation. I grew up with my dad struggling to have a business, to start it, and I grew up with that mentality. I was always, I said this before, I was always too Mexican to be considered American and too American to be considered Mexican. So with that kind of inspiration, I've lived by the motto of Pancho Villa, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees, which is why I'm a libertarian and constitutional, which is why I believe no matter how foolish someone sounds, they should be able to say what they can, because that's what makes this country great. It does. So, I would die for this country in a minute. I believe that's what makes this country great. But in the same motto, I bring the passion and the hard work that my father gave me, and seeing him struggle and how much opportunity this country brings, and haven't forgotten my heritage. That's why I say no matter what, no me razo, which means I don't bend. I will not bend for any false king, any person who tells me not to speak my mind or speak softly, which is why I'm here supporting the garden. I think it's about high time that we stand up as a community to empower our citizens, to remind us that this city belongs to us, that we will not go quietly into that long good night, but that we will stand together and be more fiercely Clearwater Floridian citizens. The people want this. If the people didn't want it, then I would be out of business. If you go down the 500 block, I'm the only place that is busy and packed. And during the last couple of days, I've gotten over 3 million views on the Tommy G show on YouTube, and spoke out against how I believe that the Scientology doesn't hinder people, but scares people away. I've gotten over 65 5-star reviews in a day. If the people of Clearwater disagreed or were on your side on the fact they believed that Miscavige would be able to build this town, then you would have seen the difference. You can go on this Scientology YouTube or their Instagram, they got about 50 views, 100 views, 10 views, maybe 3 likes. It's about high time we're on the people's side. And I say, guys, don't bend. And know that we're here for the community. The garden is offering more money at a faster rate. Why not take it? If it's for some other reason, then we believe in a narcissist, and it's an abusive relationship with the city of Stratford. Thank you.
John Felix, radical constitutionalist, freedom fighter, police accountability activist for the last 30 years, before the internet was even invented, before you could make $1 on the internet. Where do I start? I started coming here because Michael Taylor was walking on the beach exercising his constitutional rights. Assembly, the Second Amendment. Clearwater PD went up, they snatched him, they falsely imprisoned him, they disarmed him, violated the Second Amendment, and when he came to you guys to complain about it, the undersheriff at the time assaulted him right in front of the city council, and you guys didn't do anything about it. That's why we keep coming. Is anything ever going to happen to those police officers who falsely imprisoned him and disarmed him and violated their oath to the Constitution? Secondly, fluoride. Fluoride is an agricultural waste product. They want to put it in the water because they don't want to pay for it to be disposed. And they came up with the lie that it's good for your teeth. In 2011, a bunch of activists just like us came to the city Pinellas County, and they got rid of fluoride. 2 years later, you guys wanted that neurotoxin back in the water so much, you put it back in the water. If you put fluoride on concrete, it eats the concrete. That's not something people should be drinking. And it's not good for their teeth. It's a lie. We've been coming to the meetings. You guys decided to cancel free speech. You also said I have to give up my Fourth Amendment right, as a lawyer, to exercise my First Amendment right. I mean, I didn't write nothing down this time, but let me think here for a second. And we got a couple.
We got to address this guy.
Hold on, let him go. We got a couple. We got a Titsone here who comes to all these meetings now, and you can't stop interrupting us. We used to be escorted out and threatened with trespass every time we interrupted somebody. I don't know if this guy's related to you guys. What's going on here? He's sitting right in front of you. It's not like you can't hear him. Is he related to one of you? Hello? Hello? He says I followed him out to his car. He says he knows where I live. He's still interrupting me. Is anyone going to do anything? No? How much time do I have left? 50? So fluoride. Oh, Erica. She's been standing in the same spot on a sidewalk holding a sign. Clearwater PD thought it'd be a good idea to go up and arrest her. You got the boat incident. You're giving boats away for $1 a year. Those people pay $2 for those boats. Now we have a fatality. Who pays for the damages for that boat? Are the taxpayers on the line for that? Hello? McFly? Go ahead.
Hold
on.
No,
I asked for a record to
Thank you.
Every one of you were
That speaker, there's a speaker behind you. So,
Every one
thank
of you were supposed to give
Play,
something to Poirier.
Mr. Taylor, let the next speaker. Let the next speaker go.
Good evening, everyone.
It fits perfect.
Is my time starting now?
It fits perfect.
What's the state your name?
So my name is Chris, and you guys.
Just go
I'm trying to listen.
So my name is Chris, and but you guys can call me Lord Zenu. Some of you may know me. If you're at least OT3 or above, I think, and if you paid enough money, you probably know who I am. So, as Lord Zenu, I do not approve of the selling of the street to my church, because I just think it's unnecessary. You don't mix religion with government. I will tell you why they call me Lord Zenu, but you guys probably wouldn't believe me. But also I wanted to address this gentleman over here. I just want to say that this guy, I think he's a pig.
You guys keep interacting with him.
I think he's a pig. I think he's a cop. If he's not a cop, he's a pig provocateur.
That's why.
And he's not getting paid by money. He's getting paid based on special advances. Maybe he gave away his man card. I don't know, but that seems pretty popular here. He keeps talking. I'm pretty sure one of you guys paid him off for giving it to him, because that's just a professional. And the the last veteran that was here, the one that was dressed in all pink, right? The way that he spoke to him, uncalled for. Look at how old he is. He could be somebody's grandfather, and he's not even like he's 5.
You got big folks waiting in line.
And that's disgusting. And don't interrupt me as I'm talking. All right? Learn your place, public servant. Okay? I'm talking. I'm Lord Zeno. All right? Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
You're done.
You a bitch.
Next speaker.
Right? I appreciate this to you too.
Hey, Bonji. Yeah,
Fuck
Bonji.
your mother. I fucked her already.
Next speaker.
Oh, twice. Because after 2 times,
Next speaker.
I'll make it brief. My name is George Papalano, and I'm here to support Scientology's expansion by acquiring the roadway.
Let the gentleman speak.
There are many benefits for acquiring that area so they can put their building together, which will allow construction to begin, which means hiring workers. And once it's completed, it will bring in out-of-town, out-of-country tourism. As well as they attend their events, they will be sitting or staying, I should say, in local hotels down the beach, which is revenue. Everything behind me is very emotional, and there's no logic to their critique. So I'll make it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Karen Mayer. I am a resident of Clearwater, going back to the 70s, so I've been around for a while. I'm here tonight because I want to urge each and every one of you, not just 3, but each and every one of you to support the garden project. I learned about this project recently because I learned about the plans with the Garden Avenue. And I have to say, I was in Washington, D.C. in January, and I just got back from a wedding in Philadelphia this weekend. And what I wanted to come here tonight to impress upon all of you, each and every one of you, is the rich history in those cities. And I believe that Clearwater deserves the same rich history. And the way we can have that is with this Save the Garden project. If you look at this project closely and you see the plans and the architecture and saving the street to keep it a public street, I think it meets all of the needs that downtown Clearwater could have to have this new downtown again. And for the residents of Clearwater to still have a vibrant place that we can come and go, not just bypassing it to go down to Clearwater Beach, but also to actually enjoy all of downtown. I try to enjoy as much of downtown as I possibly can. So I want to say, one of the things that really impressed me, just because it was just this weekend, was going in to visit the Betsy Ross house. And it was a philanthropist that had the vision to buy the house and make it into a historic monument, a place for bringing in economic growth to Philly and for people to recognize the history. And I believe that there's a lot of similarities with Barbara Story Love's vision for the Garden Avenue project. So again, I'm asking to recognize the history of downtown Clearwater, to recognize the history of our city. And why can't we, I asked a lot of the residents there and those working in the business district about getting ready for celebrating their 250 years next year. And they have a lot of pressure, but they are so excited to be able to celebrate forward. Can't we, as Clearwater residents and the city of Clearwater, have the same vision to think 250 years from now and to start that celebration right now? So let's get behind our small businesses, let's get behind our downtown, let's get behind the Garden Avenue project and keep our city vibrant. So once again, I'm not asking for 3 votes, I'm asking for every single one of you to take a serious look at this project and support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jeannie. I'm a Clearwater resident as well, and completely agree with what was just said. I know everyone said a lot of what I'm going to say already, but I just want you to know the support that the Garden Project has behind it. The only thing I go to downtown Clearwater for is to go to the hospital. There's nothing else to do down there. So when we look at downtown Clearwater, we don't see a hustling city with shops and restaurants that people can walk through and enjoy. There's not a vibrant, thriving economy like we see in other downtowns. Just look at Dunedin, Safety Harbor, St. Pete. Instead, we see empty buildings. Our downtown is for all Clearwater residents to enjoy. It should include places that represent the people in the community and not just one group of people. Community residents need places that unite them, that represent them, that they feel welcome to, and places to invest themselves into. Those who have trusted their roots to you to do what is in the best interest for Clearwater deserve a voice in this. I would ask the question, what motivated each of you to run for city council? Where is the love you have for our great city and the endless possibilities that Clearwater residents can be a part of bringing to fruition? When did it become about giving into the demands of this one organization who already owns too much of our beloved city? Have you yourself stepped out into the community to see how those who elected you feel about the Church of Scientology buying our land? Because if not, I do believe it's part of your civic duty to do so, and to represent the majority of the people. I believe that if given the choice, Clearwater residents would choose the garden proposal rather than to see another piece of property lost to the Church of Scientology. Thank you.
Michelle, I do want to say I came with a very similar speech last time, but I did learn there is a place to go to. There is a dueling piano bar, and actually it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it was that block, so I urge you, please at least keep our block. So I came here tonight a little frustrated because at that last meeting on the 3rd, I heard about 97% of the speakers opposed to the sale, yet the council members, Cotton and Menino, claimed they were doing what the city wanted. I looked around shocked and was like, are we even attending the same meeting? I watched Mr. Cotton turn red in the face, insisting we'd be kicking the can down the road by not allowing the sale to happen. He was getting upset because he saw the proposal causing a roadblock on the vote that was supposed to be an easy win that night. That's when I knew something was happening behind the scenes. My faith in this council, putting residents first, will now always be in question. I left pondering the true intentions of Mr. Cotton and Mr. Menino. The whole format of the night seemed designed to let us vent, then the real decision happened without us. That's not democracy, and that's not transparency. At the very least, I ask you to put the Garden Street proposal, the people's proposal, on the May 15th agenda. Give it the respect and the voice it deserves. Thank you.
How you doing, sir? How y'all doing, folks?
State your name for us and then she'll start.
Yeah, my name, I'm with personality check audit, so I just understand people, and then when I see a need, I feel a need. With that in mind, I'm here to talk to you guys about some of the things that's going on, because it's been quite a show. And do you guys care about the people here, the residents of Clearwater?
Yeah. This is your chance to present whatever you want to present. So.
Yeah, I was just coming to see if you guys care about the people of Clearwater.
Don't forget Lord Zenu. Where's that records request for that friggin'
The reason I ask that is because
all that.
What he said. The reason I ask that is because all of this stuff that's going on, it's not professional, and I think you guys as leaders should be taking the initiative to stop it or try to come to a solution to fix it. But what I see is you guys are sitting here not really caring too much, looking at your clock to see what time it is. Man, as a veteran, combat veteran, I'll do anything for my country. That's why I drove to Clearwater today. That's why I looked for properties today. I want to be here. I want to make a difference. I love the community already, just talking to people. But you guys don't show that concern. Some of you don't. Some of you do. But I'm not going to show favoritism. I just want to say, man, if you care about Clearwater, let the people talk for 180 seconds. These folks did a great job. You looked at that clock every second to make sure that the time is up, they had to go. Just let them talk for 180 seconds. The one common denominator in all of these problems, all these loud outbursts, you. You care about Clearwater? Think about doing something else. Let's talk about that boat. That boat accident. How many of you guys ever been in an accident? How many of you guys left the scene of that accident? Go get her. Campbell. She left, what's her name? Campbell? She left the scene of, did you? Oh, that was a mistake. Guys, something happened at that boat accident that's not being told. Yeah, I don't know if you know about it. That's Clearwater's $1 boat. You're responsible. Someone lost their life. Hopefully you'll do something about it. Last thing is fact check. I picked one person to fact check today because I want to spend my time investing in this community as a future resident.
Who wants to be the volunteer? I already got one. Menina. Let's talk about the 100,000. Let's talk about the donation. I'll be really simple, very cordial. I just want to answer. As a researcher, I'm going to give you 100%. And if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, just accept it and let's move forward. That's a fair fact check, right? Last fact check before I go. Do you like the people of Clearwater? Crickets. Hey, Clearwater, sorry I had to take your time, but thank you all. God bless you all. God bless you.
We've got 13 minutes left, so let's be respectful of each other's time.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a resident of Clearwater, and I actually bought my first house in historic Clearwater. I thought that it was going to be a wonderful beachside city, and I had these aspirations of what I saw in downtown. In fact, where I got the news is actually now a vacant building. I've only been here for 3 years, but I've watched it change even in that time, where I thought that things were growing, but now I see it declining. And it's very sad. Across the street, there was a young family who was getting pregnant with their second child. They left because they wanted a better community. They wanted a place where people could walk and go down to shops. They moved to St. Pete. The next family that moved to that same house, they had just had their second child. And they also thought that it was a place that they could go and visit the shops and enjoy the beach and take the commuter back and forth across. And unfortunately, they also sold their house. And they've also moved to St. Pete. Why is this other place, St. Pete, so much better than Clearwater when we're closer to the beach? When we have all of these buildings and all of these places that can be full. We've heard business owners talking about trying to pay rent when Scientology owns the property. I don't think that selling to Scientology is going to be the answer. This is my first home. I'm investing a lot in it. I work 3 jobs to maintain it. And I'm doing a lot to be part of this community. I've heard people who have been here for 50 years. I plan on being here 50 more. What kind of place am I investing in?
My name is Steve Harris. I want to take the opportunity to ask all the folks watching, as well as you all, to look back on the text of what you said at the last meeting. Each one of you was very eloquent in terms of supporting what the folks at Save the Garden were trying to do in terms of memorial to the black community leaders here. It was wonderful. Taken out of context, it was perfect. Each one of you then said, but, and here's the but, put it in North Greenwood. Don't put it where in front of the Scientology. Don't take Garden Street. 2 thoughts came to mind. Was that Jim Crow talking, or was that the Church of Scientology talking? Facts. The other thought that came to mind is, how in the hell can any of you think that you are, if you vote for the Scientology purchase, thinking that you're representing the will of the people of Clearwater? Amen. You're crazy!
Would you speak earlier? Yeah, somebody.
Quick comment.
Somebody, I'm sorry, sir, we got other people, we got 10 minutes left. People have not spoken.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. My name is Rudy Mike. I live on Clearwater Beach. Earlier, you heard comments with regards to the North Beach area down on the Clearwater Beach. And it is my understanding from Sam Hupkin, who was the president of the CBA, that they really want to work with the city in order to refurbish that North Beach area. And even to the point that they're willing to provide some of the funding in order to do it in the best interest of the city and the neighborhood that's there. So I'd like to mention that again. I think it was already presented to you, but I just wanted to underline that. The second thing I'd like to visit about is the traffic pattern and flow on Clearwater Beach itself. And I know that from Assistant Manager Slaughter
that a committee is looking at that. I'm hopeful that Councilmember Albritton is also involved, as we talked about at the Neighborhoods Day, in that when Mr. Slaughter made mention of a study done previously, back I think in 2019, he commented how when you come south out of the roundabout, headed south to the Sand Key Bridge, they still had the traffic, that first traffic light between Gulfview and Coronado, changing traffic. That is one of the biggest traffic jams that occurs on the beach for people coming and going. And I've seen times where I've had to sit there a good couple of minutes after I had the green light because the traffic across, everybody from Gulfview still wanted to get that one more car across. So hopefully you'll take some resident input into that study as we look at the various patterns that one-way streets could be practical. The third thing I'm just going to mention in passing, I know Fort Harrison is under a major project renovation, infrastructure, and so forth. And again, with regards to traffic, I noticed that the area between Court Street and Chestnut, where you only have a half a block of turn lanes, has a tendency to back up through traffic because there are too many cars in the turn lane, and the through traffic can't get through that one block area. And so I'd just like to throw out a suggestion that that be considered for either widening or expansion to 4 lanes, such that you'd have 1 lane in each direction as the through lane, and then 1 lane as the turn lane for the full block, and for the fact that you could actually go north and south of that into the turn lane for another maybe half a block, which would give plenty of distance for through traffic to get through that area. So I'd just like to throw out those things related to other community issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Frank Urso, President. First of all,
I don't
everybody
agree. I'm
here,
just going to interrupt.
great job. Police department.
Nobody wants to hear your bullshit.
Well, walk down the beach with an illegal. That's why you get arrested.
We can end in 6 minutes, or we can end it now. Folks, thank you for coming tonight, sharing, those of you citizens who shared your ideas. Appreciate everyone coming and sharing your thoughts.
Hey, where's my records request? Hey, Poirier, where's
Run fast!
Hey, Cotton. Hey, you guys all, every one of you, Benito, Cotton, Texera, Alfred, and fucking the mayor, you all gave her. You all.
I thought you were going to stand this order.